The Disruptive Dozen is a rank-ordered list of 12 closed-to-market cutting-edge technologies that leading Mass General Brigham faculty feel will have the greatest impact on healthcare in the next 18 months. Number 9. First disease-modifying therapy for Alzheimer's disease. Millions of Americans are grappling with Alzheimer's disease, a progressive and debilitating form of neurodegeneration that begins decades before noticeable symptoms appear. Because of the overall aging of the U.S. population, the number of patients diagnosed with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia each year is projected to double by 2050. While some treatments are available, they are palliative at best and cannot significantly stall or reverse the inexorable march of this disease. Recognizing the need for novel therapies, the biopharmaceutical industry has made several attempts over the years to develop effective Alzheimer's drugs. However, these efforts have proved largely unsuccessful. But later this year, the first disease-modifying therapy for Alzheimer's disease could win FDA approval, drawing a line in the sand in the decades-long struggle to develop robust treatments. This new drug works by targeting certain forms of a protein called amyloid beta, which makes up the characteristic plaques in the brain that are among the hallmarks of the disease. Some researchers believe that slowing the formation of these plaques will also slow Alzheimer's disease progression, an idea known as Amyloid Hypothesis. The story behind this amyloid-targeting drug is remarkable because initial analyses of 2 global Phase 3 clinical trials reportedly showed that it was unlikely to benefit Alzheimer's patients. As a result, the trials were halted last spring, but in October, it was announced that a new analysis of a larger dataset, in consultation with the FDA, revealed that one of the trials met its primary endpoint, showing a significant decrease in clinical decline. While all eyes are on the FDA as it contemplates its final decision, approval of the new drug promises to bring renewed attention to the role of amyloid in Alzheimer's disease, and importantly, hope for countless patients and their families.
The concept of the first disease-modifying therapy for Alzheimer's disease, in my view, could readily be the first in line of the Disruptive Dozen. And that is, it will turn out to be, if it happens, a remarkable advance for humanity. We know that Alzheimer's is one of the most devastating diseases, not only as a brain disease, but any type of chronic disease. And there are surveys that Alzheimer's is the most feared diagnosis that a person can be given by a physician. It's something you absolutely don't want to hear. And that's because Alzheimer's is devastating. It robs you of your most human qualities, your ability to reason, to abstract, to understand, to make judgments, and especially in the early phases, to remember things that are important to you. So if there were a treatment approved for Alzheimer's disease, it would not only be disruptive, it would be absolutely, I think, world-changing. And that's because there are known to be about 50 million people suffering from Alzheimer's disease right now. And if we add to that the people who are incubating Alzheimer's, so to speak, that is, people who do not yet have obvious memory symptoms, but have the abnormalities in their brain, the amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles and inflammation, that brings us up to maybe 150 million people worldwide who harbor this pathology that we call Alzheimer's. So something that modifies that, i.e. a disease-modifying agent, would be truly a remarkable advance. And this year, in 2020, we are coming closer to and may indeed achieve the first disease-modifying therapeutic to be approved for Alzheimer's. And that is in the form of a monoclonal antibody called aducanumab that has been pioneered by Biogen and taken through trials in about 3,250 people in the final phase 3. And while the data are very complex, and we don't have time to speak about them now in detail, the 2 trials that were done led to one of the trials showing clear-cut achievement of endpoints. That is, the trial was successful. And the other trial missed some of its endpoints, but came close. And when one looked at the patients who had had the highest dose of aducanumab for the longest time in that second trial, they also match the good results of the first of the two equal phase 3 trials. To summarize what I've said, we are on the cusp of one of the great breakthroughs in brain disease and in any kind of chronic disease, a disease-modifying agent that may be approved by the FDA for treating Alzheimer's disease. It's fair to say that it will not be by any means the best agent we ever approve and use. Almost certainly other trials that are already underway will produce other molecules, monoclonal antibodies, small molecules that will also address the pathology of Alzheimer's. But you have to walk before you run, and the advent, potentially in 2020, of the first approved disease-modifying drug for Alzheimer's is an enormous advance for patients and their families worldwide who are suffering this, and of course, ultimately for our economic system, which collectively pays so many dollars for the care of Alzheimer's that sum exceeds the sum of all care and all expenditures on cancer and heart disease combined. A remarkable statistic.